Got you on your soapbox.
One of them ruined Fridays already. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow. Every time I hear the word discombobulated, I think of Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. I don't know if it's just like the cadence or what. Did he say
the syllables?
Say what?
The D's and the B's. Maybe it's the syllables. The D's and the dabba dabba dabba.
Could be.
Dabba.
What's happening? What's happening? No, we are not intoxicated. It's just Friday morning. Been up at the Dabo tables all night long.
Dabba dabba do, baby.
Shabba dabba do, baby. Mr. Bob Dobalina, Mr. Bob Dobalina. I'm discombobulated this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wake on up. Time to get your body moving. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. What's going on, y'all? Good morning, good morning. Got some people up. Yes. What's happening? Pop says I blinked on Friday and it was Friday again. Good morning, First Sky crew and fam. I hear that. Good morning, Brooke. What's happening? What's happening? Judy Prinzler says, happy Friday, fam. How you doing, Judy Prinzler? Been meaning to ask you how things are going with you. Need to we got other people in the chat, chimers, that have gone through some of the same stuff you have, and I'm hoping that you show them how to get through with your strength. Appreciate you joining us again today. Also, Stacey Jean in the house says, good morning, First Sky Omaha family and friends, embracing Friday. I heard that.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 630 crew. What's going on the radio channel? Judy said, I'm doing well. Glad to hear that. What you say?
I said, how we sounding?
Yeah. This mic's on even on right now. I guess so.
Yeah. Let us know how we sound.
Judy Prince responded, so I guess y'all hearing us. That's what's up. What's up, Josh Tag? Hey, happy Friday. What's up?
Any plans this weekend, y'all? What you getting into? Of course, it's Friday. We're gonna try to get to an extended haps if we can. You know how that goes.
That would be nice. It would
be.
We got a special guest in the house coming in today too, Mr. Greg Gonzalez. Stay tuned for that. And he's in the news again.
Man,
they won't leave him and his wife alone.
Nah. Which is quite interesting. We'll get into that.
I have a feeling that some of y'all are giving us a happy Friday because of that Biden's announcement yesterday.
Hey,
and the movie Friday has been in the news a lot. I don't understand.
Really?
Yeah, Ice Cube got on somewhere talking about Warner Brothers won't release it, and they're not for the culture. He can't do any more Friday movies under them. So we'll see.
You got a Warner brother.
Got a Warner brother about Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Brother Valentine says, morning fam. What's happening? Rooms Reviews singing some songs already. The Cutie Pies, they all know they can always lay LAY on my pillow. The Cutie Pies all know.
Okay.
Remember that track? What's that track? I know that track.
I don't know. It reminds me of that Lloyd.
Oh, that's Tony, bro.
Okay. Remember that Lloyd, lay your head on my pillow?
Yeah, that's what it is. No, but it's not Lloyd though. That's Tony.
Yeah,
I don't know about that Lloyd track. Whatever it is, anything classic.
No, it's not Tony.
No.
Tony.
Time to move to Cuba, Pop says.
Okay.
I don't know, Pops. I don't know. The hurricane hit over there, and economy still jacked. America still with the economy over there.
Do they still drive like cars from the 50s? You rolling in your Bel Air over there?
Man.
And your fedora?
Welcome. Good morning. It is Friday, October 7th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. Fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh, he said time to move on Ice Cube. Oh, okay. I thought, okay. Look, I got to put my readers on. I thought he said time to move to Cuba. One letter changed that whole sentence.
You said Cube.
He said Cuba. Time to move on Cube, not Cuba.
Actually, we saw the same thing, bro. We saw. I definitely thought he was talking about going to Cuba.
I thought he was too. I be thinking about going to another country like every day. So Cuba has been on the list.
Out there chilling with Pac.
Man.
Pac and Asada.
And Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
Pop says no, it's time for Ice Cube to move to another company. Yeah. He's trying to, but he said he can't get the rights to Friday. You know how they do.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. Lucia Rodriguez says Buenos Dias, made it to Friday. Good morning to you. Good to see you again. Appreciate you very much.
Buenos Dias.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining us this early in the morning for sure.
Yeah, as you can see, it's early. Talking about Cuba.
Rose said, I've been to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Is that right?
Really?
Yeah, tell us about that. One of our friends of First Sky Omaha and mentors, Jonathan Benjamin Alvarado, used to take a group of students to Cuba like every year for a minute. And that was when I came in. He was coming back from a trip when I met him. So he got lots of stories, lots of good stories. He used to hang out with Castro back in the day and all that.
Man.
So, yeah, man. Yeah, that's the dude. Whenever I'm wondering about something about Cuba, I ask him because he's been there several years over the past 20 years. So yeah, man, that's, like I said, I directly for sure be thinking, maybe we should go hang out in Cuba for a minute or something, it's definitely on the list of places that I might want to relocate one day. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely gotta get out the country, man. Period. Travel, y'all. Travel.
That's really real. Any of the chat chimers been out of the country? Let us know. Love to hear where you have been as well. I love getting to know y'all. I tell you, I was thinking about this the other day about, it's like Pops. If we don't see Pops chime in first or second, then, I'm going to give him a call, make sure he's okay. If, you know what I'm saying? We're to the point now where we know what chat chimers are going to do what, and who's going to come in and what time they're going to come in. And Mayor Sanchez is going to come in singing a song from the 80s and the 90s. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I love it. I love the consistency of everybody that comes in and chat chimes in the morning, and I even getting to know who the ghost listeners are, because they'll tell me on the street when I run into them. Yeah, man, I listen all the time. I'm a ghost listener, so that's what's up. Really appreciate everybody that's making this do what it does.
Actually, speaking of that, with the chat chimers traveling and things, just want to put a filler out. I know we've kind of mentioned it in passing, Paul, in the past, just between you and I, but as far as the Omaha, Jamaica connection, not necessarily Cuba, but still in the Caribbean, man. The Omaha, Jamaica connection is a real thing. There's a lot of love in Jamaica for Omaha, especially based on the Malcolm X connection. And there's been some talk about maybe doing some things, maybe going out to Jamaica as a mass Omaha kind of trip. So is that something that the chat chimers would be interested in, or, feel like they'd be able to make happen?
Man, I got a friend named Mia that goes out there and does tours and stuff like that. And we were trying to make a link between here and there. There's always something going on like that where I'm talking to some Omaha folks about making a link to Jamaica. So yeah, Brooke said, I love Jamaica. I heard that. I haven't been yet.
Yeah, never been. But if you remember back in the Minor Soul days, we would have Rasta Cora from Jamaica on, and Rasta Cora and the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, they would do the Vegan Soul Food Fest, which is a sister organ or a sister event, if you will, to the poetry fest that happens in Jamaica. You have like Wakanda One, Shamari and Brother Cole. They go down there and perform. Like it's a real connection between Omaha and Jamaica. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. Is that something that could we do a chat chimers trip to Jamaica?
Yep, for sure. Brooke says I went out, stayed on an organic farm. Yeah, that's what's up.
That's dope.
Learned a lot of that. Learned a lot about what they do with organic farms out there from Rasta. And talking to Rasta Kura for sure. So
Man, interesting dude. Interesting dude.
Rome's review said I've been to Okinawa, Japan. That's what's up.
Okay.
Been
Did
around the
you
world.
serve in the military, bro? Did you serve?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
question.
Guantanamo Bay, Okinawa, these are base cities.
Josh Tate said visited Jamaica in 2008. It's a beautiful place. That's what's up,
Okay.
man. Get down and jam rock.
I've been in the Bahamas, but that's about it.
Yeah. You know me and the Hawaii connection. That's the only island I know.
Okay.
Stacey Jean said I went to Wellington, Ontario, Canada for a job interview. Okay, that's what's up.
Okay.
I get a lot of good vibes from Canada from a lot of friends of mine that live in Canada.
Yeah, I heard Toronto is amazing.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing too. Pop says, stay in Ocho Rios, not Kingston. Okay. Yep, Kingston is like Jam Rock. That's the dangerous spot these days. Brother Valentine said Jamaica's nice, but not sure that I would come back to Nebraska. Yeah, that's
one way trip.
Well, I missed my flight. I don't know what
I just keep missing it.
Josh Tagg says Hubert from Caribbean Delights is Jamaican, and a lot of Jamaicans go there for food and gathering, and a lot of non-Jamaicans go there to eat all the time too.
Man, oxtail.
Yeah, they get down.
Yeah.
They get down. Brooke wants to go to Japan. Brother Mayor Sanchez says USMC, Uncle Sam's Marijuana Club. Hoorah.
Okay.
He just sound like he just did some traveling.
man. But I'm actually glad you brought that up, Mayor Sanchez. We will be talking about that. It is about 8:12, so let's go ahead and get into it, if that's all right.
Before we do, I just want to say what's up to Miss Erica Felt. She's in. I wasn't seeing her before, but she says Mia has wonderful curated tours talking about Jamaica. Sounds like you've been on one. I have to check it out. Okay. Carolyn Jack said, I'm late. We going on a field trip to Jamaica. I'm trying to get it going. We're trying to make it happen.
Putting the fielder out there.
Call your cousin. Tell her we need that tour for sure. That's what's up. Brooke said I stayed in the grill near Bob Marley's beach house. Is that right?
Okay.
Yep. Oh. Anyway, lots to talk about today. We do have a special guest coming in today, Greg Gonzalez, running for sheriff, and he hit us up and wanted to come through and talk about a few things. So let's see what's happening. But in the meantime, between time, what we talking about today, buddy?
Well, the big news that I am definitely looking forward to getting into conversation with you all, as Brother Mayor Sanchez kind of alluded to, is President Biden's pardon of those serving federal time for marijuana possession. Thousands of people got good news yesterday, and Biden has put out the call to states to do the same on the state level. Of course, we talked about if a majority of states are going to decriminalize marijuana, then those who are serving time for it should be released as well. And this is a step towards that. So this is big news, man. Paul, we kind of talked about it yesterday. You mentioned that it might be a response to that.
Big time.
Yeah, man.
But
so
also you say it's big news, but it don't seem to be big news here in Omaha.
That is quite interesting. You're not quite seeing it in places that you think you would. So we'll definitely dive into that situation. And then, of course, Ricketts chimed up on it and didn't waste any time criticizing Biden's announcement. So we'll dive into what old Pistol Rick had to say about it. Also, in other news, speaking of criticism of Biden, there's now been another lawsuit wedged against the Biden administration in response to the student loan forgiveness plan. So yeah, another one in the words of in the words of DJ Khaled, man. So we'll talk about that as well. Speaking of another one, more fires in North Omaha, and now they're finally being deemed suspicious. Now I know we're not crazy.
I guess we the ones had to tell them.
Right. We had to let them know, man. Actually, the Omaha Fire Department met with Channel 6 News to talk about a couple fires that recently happened, and they are deeming them suspicious. So yeah, we are going to dive into that, and also some more things coming out of the Omaha Planning Board in regards to housing, the evergreen conversation that keeps on going here on First Sky Omaha, man. So again, it's about 15 minutes into the hour. We're here for the next 2 hours. If there's anything on your hearts, your minds that you would like to discuss, that we're not touching on, feel free to chime into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. In the meantime, in between time, big shout out to all the ghost listeners, first time listeners, last time listeners, especially the chat chimers, the fam. Welcome. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, for Sky Omaha. Let's do it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. This is First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, all of you, the ghost listeners, really appreciate everybody that's in. Pops got us beat on civilians traveling around the world. He said he went to China, Russia, Japan, Italy, Greece, Monaco, France, England, Puerto Rico, and many more. So you go to Pop's house, he got a map on the wall and got the red pins in there, and they're just abundant.
Really?
So life of a musician can be a life of travel around the world, even more so than the military man. So very interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, military man. You go where they send you, and that's it.
And that's all. Josh Take is calling Pete Raggedy Ricketts. Josh Take is the king of the Ricketts nicknames. I'm going to have to give you a prize for that. You got the best ones. Lucia Rodriguez is singing In the Morning with you, buddy. That's what's up.
Hey.
Brooke Allen says, got to apologize for typos when I get on here. I'm still in bed texting with one eye open.
Got to get the crud out your eye.
Appreciate you getting up with us. So Erica Fell says, I haven't left this continent except to hit Oahu. Okay, it's like going to another country when you go to Hawaii for sure. The plane ride is definitely comparable. Rose Review says, if you believe in God, he put cannabis for us to eat, drink, and textiles. Book of Genesis. All right. I love it. I love it that we're going to jump into this topic because it just reminds us that we have this platform here and this show here and the discussion that we have with y'all so that we can deem what's news and what's not news.
Man.
And talk about things that we think is relevant, even if mainstream media doesn't want to do that or they want to take a position. We can do that too. So that's what it is, and we can jump into some of this news. But just stay tuned with us. We do have a special guest that reached out to us that wants to come through and have a discussion. Oh man, running for sheriff, Greg Gonzalez will be in the house very soon. So let's go ahead and jump into something before we have the brother on. What we got on the agenda over there, buddy?
Yeah, well, we'll kick off with kind of our evergreen conversation. Let's go ahead and get that out the way so we can leave time for our guest and this Biden announcement, because I'm definitely anticipating some conversation with that. But we're constantly keeping our eyes open on what's going on with housing in our own backyards. And this recent news out of Omaha World Herald is giving us a little update. The Omaha Planning Board has approved some apartments and community space. Again, I'm sure we've all seen the plethora of apartments that are popping up left and right throughout the Omaha area. Of course, a lot of you have talked about the price tag attached to some of those, so that's definitely a point of concern. But again, plans that would have seen 100 row house style homes built in Omaha have been downsized, and the Omaha Planning Department unanimously approved plans to downsize the Uptown district, which would redevelop multiple sites across the city. Of course, the original plan was approved back in 2015 and also revised later in 2017. Under that revised plan, the planning board would eliminate 6 parcels. A document sent to the board said that changes in market conditions no longer favor for sale townhome units in the area. And again, just a side note, this goes back along with the organization that I've been mentioning, the Missing Middle Housing organization. I forget the full name, of it. But again, this is one of the organizations that brought to my attention the types of housing that we see in the community, and how that plays on one's ability to build community and to engage with their neighbors, and to really have, a vibrant community. So again, think about that. Again, it's a downsize in townhome units. Two of the 6 parcels that are being removed from the plan are being redeveloped as separate projects, dubbed the Digs. The project will see an apartment building built at 522 South 31st Street, and then also 522 South Park Ave. So again, going right into that types of housing, sounding more like those live workspace housing, kind of like the Benson Lights.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
not Benson Lights is not really like that. Benson Lights is more of just an apartment complex, but it's more like situations over in Midtown. Exarban is an example of some of these
Yeah,
that
right,
have
Exarban.
have shops and stuff at the bottom of the apartment buildings and all that.
But aren't there some shops over there by Benson Lights, or a couple commercial units?
No, not in the Benson Lights building.
Okay.
We're in Benson, so we're already around a bunch of businesses. So yeah, this is a strictly live space here.
But again, in this project, again, it's called the Digs, which would be another apartment building, which again makes community a little more difficult. In an apartment building, you just go inside and go to your apartment. The 2 other parcels that will be used in this project will be donated to nonprofit In Common. The board also recommended approval for 2 other developments that sought tax increment financing. Of course, a 4-story apartment building, and then another building near 24th and Laird, which would undergo rehab and construction of small addition. Those would have 3 apartments, 1 bedroom, and then 2 2-bedroom apartments, and then a commercial kitchen, office space, and community event center will be on the first floor. And again, that'll be right there on the Deuce at 24th and Laird.
And did I miss that? Did they talk about what some of the prices are going to be on these?
Yeah, well, for again, they are seeking TIF, so more TIF projects. Developers are seeking 1.8 million in TIF financing, but the full project will be 18 million.
I'm not talking about how much it costs to make. I'm talking about how much the rent's going to be.
Oh, the rent.
Okay.
Yes, the apartments will have 73 units for rent, and the prices will start at 1,100, or just shy of 1,200 for a studio. So $1,200 for a studio, and just shy of 2,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. And again, we remind you that the definition attached to affordable housing is making 3 times more than that rent. So you would have to be making about 3,000, about 3,600 to get into this apartment.
And that's a studio. It says I think it said that prices would go up to 1,973 for a 2-bedroom.
Yep, just shy of 2,000 for a 2-bedroom.
$2,000 for a 2-bedroom, bro.
Yeah, you'll have to be making about 6,000 for that.
So
a month.
And where is these going to be built again? What's the area?
Man, I'm just saying. No, it's a good question. Again, the project will be an apartment building built at 522 South 31st Street, so South 31st, and then South Park Ave. So I'm thinking kind of right on the other side of the Dodge Harney area, like right on the other side of that.
Yeah, it's kind of it's not an area that is that you got to pay those kinds of prices in right now.
No, I'm thinking it's kind of by the supermercado.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking it's around there where the freeway cuts through and all that. Yeah.
Yep.
Miss Erica Fell says towards the towers.
Yeah.
Jazari Kowal in the chat.
Hey.
Good morning to you. Says that's trash. I heard that.
Man, big time trash. And any of you making $6,000 a month? And if you're making $6,000 a month,
yeah, you living over
by
Park
Ave. Right.
Mama God gives us a good morning first, Sky fam. Good morning to you, Mama God. Mr. Erica Phil says that's low income in that area. Okay, is it? I didn't know that. I thought that it was kind of a little high for that area.
No, I'm thinking she's saying that area is low income. Like the people around there ain't making that money.
Oh, that's low income in that area. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what. Yeah, like That's what I mean. Like, there's been a lot of revisions of buildings over there. I have seen that a lot of construction. They've tried to upscale those buildings a lot. I saw them making a move towards them trying to make it a little bit more of an upscale neighborhood, but still, yeah.
Actually, you're right. Now that I think about it, there used to be a mechanic over there that I would take my car to. I actually told you about it. You know, my guy over there at Star Auto. Um, and I now that I remember, there were a few apartment buildings that are being renovated, and they had the tarp on the building, and they were talking about the new appliances that they were bringing in and things like that. And now we're seeing this. Also, don't forget that think of the area that we're talking about, and remember this whole Tiff Alley that they're talking about building. It's not too far from that. It's not too far from Farnham. It's not too far from that Midtown strip, if you will. And good morning, brother Jazari.
Yeah, good morning to you. Mama God is saying Creighton, UNMC, young professionals are drawn there. Yeah, I guess so. That's true. Close to the street.
I think she's hitting it on the head, man. Shout out. Good morning, moms. Mama God in the building. She says students and downtown employees, so not just students, but maybe think about the employees that they might want to entice to this Mutual of Omaha building.
Yeah, I mean, Mutual of Omaha has already built a whole midtown for that, which is why they're going where they.
Yeah. And does anybody live there? Like,
bunch of Mutual of Omaha people.
Yes.
Brother Jazari got a really, really good point. He said, imagine the kind of house you could purchase paying a mortgage payment less than $2,000 a month. Sadly, it's hard to get qualified for mortgages, especially for minorities. And I'll add on to that. It's hard to find houses to buy. It's hard to, you know what I'm saying? It's affordable housing in the not even affordable, just housing in the areas that we're talking about trying to live in our neighborhoods. It's hard to just find housing in period, let alone, qualifying and all the hoops you got to jump through and everything else. So very interesting stuff. FOMOA. I'm not sure what you mean.
Not sure what that is either.
But yeah, this is something that we continue to talk about because we're keeping an eye on that. And then of course, I was looking for it, but Flatwater Free Press had a really good article out there about this company that's coming in from out of town that's buying up all these spots, tearing stuff down and building these apartment complexes. And right now they're the majority. They're like the biggest landlords in Omaha. They're from a whole nother state doing that thing that we talked about before, where they will their whole plan is to raise the rents and get a whole other class of people inside these places, and they don't have no ties to these neighborhoods because they're from another state. So
don't know the history, don't know the culture. Yeah.
Oh, she said F Mutual of Omaha. Got it. Wanda Lewis says redlining is currently for all income disadvantaged. Interesting. Mama God says those mortgage payments are dinosaurs. That is what you pay for near fixer upper. Wow. That's pretty crazy, man, when you think about that. Like a lot of people, I got steered towards buying something because my mortgage is going to be cheaper than my rent right now. But that don't even sound like it's the case anymore. And if you can't get anything decent paying $2,000 a month, and like what you doing in Omaha in the first, like what, you know what I'm saying?
You might as well be right near the beach.
Right near the beach, bro. You can find something. You can still live on Kauai, maybe in a studio apartment for around $2,000. Like,
man,
right, live on the beach, bro. If you're gonna do all that kind of stuff, I guess it really is like they're very targeted on who they want here and who they want to draw here and who they want in these areas.
Man, let me break down what's expected to be included in this one of these TIF projects. This 4-story apartment building, which will be right on 30th and Leavenworth. So this is a different project than the Park Ave area. This apartment, and these are the apartments that start at $1,200 for a studio, $2,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment. This building will include a fitness studio, yoga room, bicycle storage, coffee bar, and common gathering areas.
I mean, sounds great.
Come on now, coffee bar, bicycle room.
If you paying $2,000 for a 2-bedroom, you better have all that. I will say this. I chose to move into the lights because of even though the rent is way more than I wanted to pay for a 1-bedroom, and I rationalize it like that. Well, I'm in Benson, so my job is I can walk to the job. I don't got to drive much. I can get rid of the gym membership because there's a gym inside the building. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to worry about washing dryers inside the unit. You know what I'm saying? Like I rationalized up a few more $100 than I was planning on. So they better give me some amenities, I guess.
When I read that stuff, I just picture a bunch of young millennial hipsters walking around. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. The yoga room and the bicycle storage and the coffee bar.
Be looking how the coffee shop look over there at Highlander.
All right. That's all I'm saying.
Just white folks, dogs, and people, people with money. It's really what it boils down to. Like they're making a concerted effort to get folks over there. And let me put myself in the shoes of a developer. So I got an apartment building. Do I want to not charge market rate? I do want to charge market rate. But at the same time, I mean, what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna not charge market rate? Every place is $1,000 for a 1-bedroom or a studio right now, everywhere in Omaha.
Well, you do what you can, and that's why the conversation about market caps has been catching my attention. And a few chat chimers that have mentioned it, as far as setting caps on the market and kind of regulating, this housing market so these developers aren't being predatory, and people can actually house themselves and aren't finding themselves homeless and in this undesirable class that we see.
That's crazy.
In the underbelly of our society.
Lucia Rodriguez in the chat says, I feel like the whole Park Avenue area has had a lot of new renovated apartments.
Yep.
Yes, it has. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, does anybody know anybody that's moved into those areas? Christy Nora is giving me that part, talking about the people who are trying to move certain people in and other people out. Miss Erica Felt, who owns something, says, and then the taxes get raised, so your mortgage is far more than you imagine. Just 6 months after purchasing, Omaha taxes are bizarre.
Yep.
You gotta worry about that. Mama God says my house is 2,700 square feet and 3/4 of an acre, and I pay less than $900 a month for the whole payment, the whole the whole pity payment. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's usually what I'm talking about. I don't know how many bedrooms is in a 27 square foot house, but I would imagine that that if I'm living in Omaha, Nebraska, I should be able to find a 2 or 3 bedroom home somewhere for $1,000 a month. Like I don't understand why anything would be different than that. And that to me that seems reasonable. And by at the same time, $600 or $700 a month for a 1-bedroom apartment with some amenities. I know it's only a couple $300 they're talking about a difference, but it's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, definitely taking consideration, majority of families are like a $500 emergency away from bankruptcy and homelessness.
And the thing, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing it's relative because this is what I think is reasonable, and it's according to what I make. And you know what I'm saying? Like I can't speak for everybody else what they think is reasonable for here for what you're supposed to be doing. I know I'm overpaying for living where I'm living. I know that it's a struggle every month. I know I'm overpaying. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, what are the alternatives here? There's no choices here in Omaha for one thing, especially in the sides of towns that we're trying to live.
Yeah, and those choices are getting slimmer and slimmer. That's why I keep talking about this missing middle housing situation, because pretty soon all there will be is apartments at 1,200. Like that's all there will be, pretty soon. So remember when we went to San Francisco, how it was looking out there? Like, man, all these houses look the same.
Yeah, you yeah. What is this? It's like
right. Where's the yards?
This is $4,000 a month where you don't even have a view out of the window. So
or any privacy. Your neighbors right on top of you.
Back in the chat real quick, Erica Fell says that area has a lot of low income elders and immigrants. Yeah, that's that's another thing to think about. Marianne Williams in the house, good morning, says so they include bicycle storage because at those rates you can't afford a car. True. That's why they're making all these little communities that way, so you can walk to this and walk to that and go down and get coffee and know how to drive to the coffee shop and all the what I'm saying?
Be in your bubble.
Rose Review said that's my style. Underground parking, home ownership is expensive. Shovels, lawnmowers, gas, etc. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Had an opportunity to come up where people were asking, were saying I can go into a house for about as much as I'm paying here for like a 2-bedroom house. And I'm like, yeah, but then I'm back to paying all utilities. I'm back to dealing with the yard and the gas and the lawnmower and the this and the that. And something goes wrong, you got to deal with the landlord. And so there's a lot to it. But the big thing I'm taking away from here is there's just no choices, man. There's no choices anymore. And if you want some choices, then you better be making 60, 70 grand a year in order for you to have some kind of choices on what you want to do and where you want to live. And that's just not feasible for everybody.
Man. The majority of people. But also I do want to add into this whole conversation, speaking of actually a good segue, options getting slimmer and slimmer. Not only are apartment buildings popping up left and right, but a lot of the housing that is available that is abandoned is suspiciously getting burnt down. This is now WOWT recently released a video, so not quite an article, but they did speak with the Omaha Fire Department about a couple fires that recently took place in the community that they are deeming suspicious. They are asking the community members to keep an eye out, to stay vigilant, to look for suspicious activity around abandoned houses, especially if you recognize a house that's remained vacant in your neighborhood for quite some time. Keep an eye out of traffic going in and out of that area. And we've kind of talked about why we think this might be happening. So it is quite interesting to see now WOWT releasing this video speaking to the Omaha Fire Department, saying that they are also deeming this suspicious.
Very interesting. We talk about this all the time. It's a weird thing that there's always stories of people running into sides of buildings and buildings burning down in certain areas. And we reason around it. There's people that have brought up things like Mama God brought up one time about some of these places that are in trouble. They're abandoned, and so you got the homeless people that might be living in them. You can see why there might be some fires started in some abandoned areas and so on and so forth. Like it's reasonable, but man, it sure does seem like it's a lot, and a lot happening all the time. And it seems very suspicious, and we ain't the only one saying it now.
Right. And it's happening almost too frequently to be a coincidence at this point. That's the thing. Like, it happens a handful of times. It's like, oh, okay, I can see that reasonably. But then it starts to happen more and more. It's like, I don't know, man. Might be something to that. And they do mention that in this video, as far as some deeming these abandoned houses as eyesores in the community. Some people who might still own this property, although it is remaining vacant for years, might want to get it off their hands, get it off their books. There's a lot of reasoning behind that we could speculate on, but again, the Omaha Fire Department is now asking people to keep an eye out and to look for suspicious activity.
Before we go to a break, I just want to jump into the chat real quick. Linda in Chicago is back in the house from YouTube. Appreciate you over there. So she says that there should be a limit to the number of corporations that own residential property. They continue to push prices to absurdity in Omaha. Very, very, very true. Also, Mama God said, Buddy fussed at me because we are updating second home to rent and will charge market rate. The house is in Millard and tenants are paying it. I have noticed there is now a high turnover in the development. I wonder if tenants run into problems maintaining the rent. It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, man, if I own some property, am I going to get market rate for it? I mean,
it's a good question. I did kind of get on Mom's neck, like, hey, you're in here all the time. You hear us talking about this housing. You gonna be one of the ones that's charging this crazy
but put yourself in her shoes though. If you own the house, don't you want to get out of it what you supposed to get? Because the other part is we don't know the costs. We don't, we got all these messed up costs going on in order to even renovate. We got supply chain demands, we got taxes that go up, we got all kinds of stuff that's happening. So like, you don't want to take on a bill either. So you got to do something.
You do what you can.
Linda in Chicago said, I said that wrong. Limit to the number of properties they own. Yeah, we got the point for sure. Wanda Lewis says, I went to a BID meeting for North 24th Street. Oh, I'm so glad you did. I want to hear about this. She said this past Monday, and they said that parking will be an issue within the next 3 years, it was stated that city transportation and bikes will be the main mode of transportation on 24th Street due to design. Nah, bro, that's not.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. Mayor Sanchez says the police aren't going to actively search for a subject, especially if it's white collar, blue collar. They might stumble on a suspect. Yeah, this definitely sounded like a reporter that was like, "This sounds suspicious." It wasn't. It didn't sound like officials were really talking about it. He also gives some advice: save all your money now. Houses will stabilize and or lower to more affordable rate. Right. I'm glad you brought that in perspective as well, Mayor Sanchez, because the markets fluctuate; they go up and down, and it'll always go back down. And people who are have money saved and are astute to those kinds of investments will jump in when the price is low, and sit on stuff and rent stuff out and do what you got to do. So if the market is super high and ridiculous right now, and while the economy is suffering, you really can't think about buying anything anyway. But save that money, because when it does fluctuate and go down like it always does, houses will be way more affordable. Interest rates will be way more acceptable, and you might be able to get into something. But man, it's a struggle waiting for that in a big way. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. I definitely want to jump into this Biden announcement. I don't want to leave everybody hanging on that. We'll talk a little bit about it now and later, and we'll see what you have to say about it as well. I think it's really interesting that I couldn't really find any big story about it in any of the local press. It is kind of just kind of peppered it in here or there, and then today there was an article on Pete Ricketts. Yeah, man,
Pistol Pete chiming up. Yeah, a little Salt Bay on it.
And then Pistol Pete chiming up, of course. And we always pay attention to what he chimes up about. And of course, he got something to say about Biden's announcement. So we'll jump into that. And then, of course, stay tuned, because we got a special guest coming in very shortly. Gonzalez running for sheriff. He'll be in here very soon. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you, stay tuned. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Picking up speed over there on Twitter, man. Got a lot of stuff going on over there. Talking to some people. Buddy, you got quoted by one of the chat chimers over there on Twitter. I was like, wow. Marianne Williams, appreciate you also spreading the word on Twitter over there for us as well. If you're so inclined to jump on Twitter, go to First Sky Omaha, the Twitter page, and get some headlines, get some quotes about what happened on the show, all that good stuff that's going on. And of course, you can also watch us live over there Monday, Wednesday, Friday as well. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show. I didn't say that yet. Please do us a favor, share the show on your page. See if we can get as many people in here talking as we can. And we really appreciate everybody who is doing that and chiming into the chat and sharing it as well. It is about 7:44 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. Buddy, what are we talking about?
Man, well, we again are anticipating our guests coming in very shortly. Shout out to Gonzalez running for Douglas County Sheriff. So looking forward to that. But as Paul mentioned, the big news for the day, man, let's go ahead and set it up and tee it up. And we will dive, more into it in depth later on in the show as we approach our second hour. But definitely have to let you know, if you have not heard the news, big news. President Biden just yesterday announced that he is taking executive action to pardon thousands and thousands of people who have been convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law and DC statute. The pardons will be done through an administrative process and to be developed by the Justice Department. Senior administration officials told reporters on a briefing call, and will cover citizens and lawful permanent residents. And this could be wide reaching, not only those serving minimal sentences for small amounts of possession, but also those serving, who kind of got their third strike, if you will, for marijuana possession. Again, this is wide reaching, and not a small thing, and also a big step in the right direction as far as the legalization of marijuana, which has always been a part of the conversation. If you're going to legalize marijuana, we should also look at pardoning those who are serving time for marijuana. And to that point, President Biden did send out a tweet saying, as I said before, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. Today, I'm taking steps to end our failed approach. Allow me to lay them out. Again, this is on Twitter. And it's actually a full thread that so this is quite interesting, Paul. Again, policy being announced via Twitter this way. But President Biden says, first, I'm pardoning all prior federal offenses of simple marijuana possession. There are thousands of people who were previously convicted of simple possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result. My pardon will remove this burden. So not only those who are serving time, but those who have been freed and still dealing with some of the residual effects of their conviction.
Right.
Second, he says, I'm calling on governors to pardon simple state marijuana possession offenses, just as no one should be in a federal prison solely for possession. No one should be in a local or state prison for that reason either. And we'll actually get into our governors, your governors' response a little later on. But also, third, he says we classify marijuana at the same level as heroin. And this is a big one. He says, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. I'm asking Secretary Bakara and the Attorney General to initiate the process of reviewing how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Again, marijuana is currently considered a Schedule 1 drug, which is on the same level as heroin, and actually higher. Actually, it's higher than fentanyl. It's actually a more severe designation than even fentanyl. We've talked about how dangerous that is. So this, again, is not small news. This is big news that could definitely have residual effects. Of course, would love to hear from the chat chimers. What do you think about this, the impact that this will have? And then, of course, we're going to dive into some of the responses a little later on.
Yeah, we're going to bring in our guest. Before we do, Jazari said something very interesting. He said, but didn't his press office fire a staffer for having marijuana earlier on in his administration? Does he get his job back? Precious is in the house. Good morning to you. She says, some have been rehired. So shout out to Precious who got on live yesterday, man, and went off on this subject here about some of the people that are going to get released, and just the announcement in general and what Biden's doing and so
Precious went live. I missed it.
She did, man. I posted it, but it was a private, so it didn't really show up for everybody on Friends of First Sky Omaha. But yeah, you got to follow Precious McKesson's page and check her out when she goes on live. She'll be talking about it. In the meantime, between time 7:49 right now already. If you believe in the concept of time, that is, we're gonna bring in our special guest in the house. Good morning, Brother Gonzalez. How are you this morning?
I'm doing good, fellas. Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Appreciate you coming through this morning, man. How's life treating you?
It's busy. It's every day is another day in politics. I can tell you that. You're talking about politics. Yeah, it's crazy.
I got up in the morning and said, "Brother is in the news again." You and your family in the news like every day these days, bro.
Yeah, give me some free press, but I love to talk about it. I have about 35 more days to talk about the ill wills of some of the things that were uncovered that we stood up to fight for. Some corruption with the Internal Affairs Unit of the Omaha Police Department. And as you guys know, we're high-ranking officials at the police department. So if it's happening at the PD, one has to wonder what's happening on the streets of the city.
Hey, and you said it. So for those who are familiar, again, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I do know the campaign trail can be quite strenuous, so thank you. And again, some of the chat chimers are familiar with you. Of course, we know Kimra just mentioned that she's a part of your campaign and assistant with that. But for those who aren't familiar, can you kind of give us a little bit of background before we get into the campaign and things like that? Like, who are you, where are you from, things like that?
Yeah, you know what? Born and raised in South Omaha, come from a family of six. And I went to Omaha South High School, graduated in 1989. Go Packers, for all those OPSers out there. I went to school to UNO. I was a Goodrich Scholarship recipient. Played baseball at UNO. And then my senior year, got hired by Douglas County Sheriff's Office and stayed there 2 years and then made the transition to the Omaha Police Department. You know, just for the record, my uncle El Martinez was the first Hispanic police officer in the city, walking the beat in South Omaha. So, you know, my I guess thirst for law enforcement was really the community policing piece of it. Obviously, things have changed as we've seen over time. But I spent 27 years at the police department. I rose the ranks from street cop all the way to assistant police chief, where I spent 9 years as assistant police chief right next to Todd Schmatter.
Wow, that's quite the journey.
Yes, it is. It is quite to the top.
I like what you said, man. It stood out that you said your father, your grandfather was on.
You know, my uncle El Martinez. You know, he was this one. We didn't even have police radios. You know, he was walking the beat in South 24th Street. And you know what I know vividly as policing is, you know, really community policing. You know, police officers talking to our community members, the good side of policing that we all want to embrace, and especially in the inner city. And it doesn't really matter what part of town you're at. We've gotten away from that, in my
Big
opinion.
time. Yeah. Our opinion too, man. That perked my ears up when you talk about a cop walking the beat. You said your uncle from South Omaha, he's in his neighborhoods walking that beat, knowing everybody, knowing the people, and all that good stuff. Policing wasn't perfect back in those days, but it was better than it is now with this lack of community policing the way you're talking about it. So I'm definitely with that. Really appreciate you coming on, man, and throwing some things down. Rome's Reviews, they already asking you how'd you get in law enforcement, so you answered that for us. We appreciate that. If you have any questions for Brother Gonzalez, please put it in the chat. We'll definitely read those off. And man, I don't even know where to begin with you, bro. You got so much stuff going on. Like I said, every time you open up the paper, you in the news again.
Yeah. Well, let's tell me. We can talk about that because I got a lot of stuff to unpack on that one.
Well, first, before we get into go ahead, buddy.
Yeah. I kind of got an idea where I want to start because I do have the article pulled up. They're asking my man to step down. I hopefully he won't listen. But before we get to that, because I think that's a residual, or that's a part of the story that's already laid out in a response to something that's already happening, in my opinion. And I want to start there because you're talking about community policing, and you're talking about how police treat the community and how police treat each other. So let's start there. Just kind of hear from you. Like we've already talked about the story and the lawsuit and the situation with your wife here on the show. So let's just start there. I want to hear your perspective on that whole situation.
Well, you know, the lawsuit, my wife won 8-0. She was also a high-ranking police officer from South Omaha. And the jury came back unanimous decision 8-0 that she was retaliated against by the city and the chief of police. So that kind of speaks for itself. That is under appeal, of course. So some of those things I probably can't talk too much, but I will tell you that it's been 5 years of short of hell, you know, for my family and my kids, and it's really hard to describe, because when you stand up and fight, especially women in law enforcement, women in the private sector, or anybody that has the courage to fight, let's call it the administration, most people don't have the means to fight. In other words, the financial means. You know, the police union did not support her. And so, you know, we've had our battles with Tony Connor because they did not support a lifelong union member. And, you know, when you talk about solidarity of policing, you know, you pay union dues, you know, for support, especially when you've been wrong. So that piece of it, hopefully, it will continue. It's kind of behind us, and no question, I've been kind of in the middle of this firefight, which is why I'm running for Douglas County Sheriff. I don't have anything to hide. They can come at me any direction they want, but my record speaks for itself. I've never even had a reprimand on this job, and you can't say that for a lot of police officers that have been, my opponent has 2 lawsuits against him right now. One named in a lawsuit for excessive force, and another for racial profiling. So, bring it on. I'm all about transparency, and we could talk all day about some of those things, but I appreciate that question.
No, definitely. And I appreciate your transparency in your answer of that question, and definitely understand. I actually did not know that was an appeal, so it's kind of a bombshell for me. But I do understand that litigation can't really talk too much about it. But I do feel like this latest story is kind of a part of that, and like you mentioned, it seems like they couldn't really get to your wife. They try to push her down, but she won in court. And now they seemingly are coming for you. I've heard that they've asked for speaking of the Omaha Police Union, they asked for their donation back. I believe $20,000. And now in this latest news in the Omaha World Herald, former longtime Republican Douglas County Sheriff Tim Dunning is calling for you to step down or to stop your campaign, saying you're unfit for the job. And again, I feel like this is a response to that. What is your take on it?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. The beautiful thing about technology is I tell everybody, Google his name. Sheriff Dunning, for, back before he was a sheriff, if you can believe this, he either was terminated, received a 30-day suspension for a corruption case he was involved in with former Mayor Mike Boyle, if you can believe that, where the Omaha police officers targeted his brother-in-law for an arresting him for DUI. It became a big scandal in the paper. It's all on court documents online. And then he became sheriff and, kind of continued that trend. He'd been riddled with lawsuits from sexual harassment in the workplace. Actually, a female deputy that I came on, Teresa Gonzalez, had sued him successfully, and many others. He had, of course, one of his crime lab managers go to federal prison for evidence tampering. Had another female crime lab manager leave there with a large settlement over some evidence issues, among many other things. And, it's about power, fellas. You know how this goes. I've never been involved in politics and nasty at this level. But, I tell everybody, it's interesting how a lot of the people that will speak out against you are the same ones that have a record of either being terminated at the Omaha Police Department, or you have a sheriff like this who himself is not fit for the job. So one of the reasons I jumped in the race too is I was a deputy. So people know my style. They know I'm fair. I have nothing to hide. I'm a transparent guy. And they were looking for a new sheriff that's going to listen to them. If I was my opponent, Aaron Hansen, I would be running from an endorsement from this guy, because from sexual harassment to the other lawsuits, this guy's been riddled with lawsuits. And so I of course, the paper doesn't always print that, because then it doesn't maybe sell papers as it does as a former sheriff having a voice against me. But, of course, I'm not going to step down. I'm in it to win it. And I think for our people, you need someone that's going to be a leader, that's going to work for the whole county. And I could talk about things that I'd love to do as it relates to transparency. One of the biggest things that I brought to the Omaha Police Department was body-worn cameras. Because, you wanted someone to see, exactly what's happening on a police encounter. It's a neutral third party. Those are the things that help with that extra layer of transparency. But I could talk all day, any day about service, professionalism, the things that my accomplishments, but I'll wait for those questions to come. But I appreciate the Dunning question, because, it's party politics. If you remember 2 or 3 years ago, he actually supported a Democratic mayor because he was mad at Gene Stothard. He's always had a bad relationship with Chief Schmatter. They fought, tooth and nail against the crime lab merger, something that made sense for the county. So this guy has a history of abuse, when it comes to trying to use his power and leverage. And I was on KFAB yesterday, and I had to fight to get on that conservative radio station because I'm not scared of those guys. And I told him I almost feel sorry for the guy. He's like a bitter old guy that, if you're walking on his lawn, he's the guy that's going to yell at you to get off his lawn. So
get off my property.
Hey, man.
Enough about him. I want to talk about me and my opponent.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me jump in there. Just a last little point on that article. It did jump out to me that it was like this former sheriff person that's not even running is asking you to do something. I'm like, why is that story?
Yeah.
Just want to let people know it's 8:00 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're now in the second hour of First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
And we're here with brother Greg Gonzalez running for sheriff, man. We've been hearing a lot about him from Kimra Snipes. What's good in the hood on Wednesdays. She's been talking about him. I'm gonna jump in the chat real quick. Amy Hupflis is asking the question. Can you talk about what's happening with fentanyl and the cartel activity? That's a question that I'd like you to get to at one point. Also, Raina Williams gives us a good morning. Brother Rome's reviews. Mayor Sanchez says, I bet Mr. Gonzalez gets a reprimand after this. Yeah. If you get a reprimand for being on our show, then that's a badge of honor for us. So it's all good. Linda in Chicago over there on YouTube is saying, no surprise about Tony Connor. He needs to go. Most in the community can't believe he acts the way he acts. We don't understand why nothing has been done about him and his behavior unacceptable. Yeah, we talk about that dude all the time. I'm gonna keep on trying to get him on the show. I gotta find out what's going on in his mind for real. Wanda Lewis says Tony Connor has no room to speak with. Where's his transparency for real?
Right.
Kimber just came in giving us a good morning. Greg for sheriff, she says. That's what's up. Mayor Sanchez says police should not get into hands on situations, use dogs, tasers, etc. in situations where there are two or more officers present. One should act to de-escalate the situation. Mayor Sanchez always has a lot of good ideas. That's why we call him the mayor. He should be the mayor because he got so much good ideas all the time. So we appreciate him. Those are what we call our co-host, our chat timers. Just wanted to give them time and read their comments for sure because we don't have a show unless they're chiming in and talking about things and asking questions. So we appreciate that. I wanted to definitely know from you about some of this corruption stuff that's been going on. But I mean, it's a tough question for you in particular because your wife, like the reason why we were even asking about corruption in the police department is based on like the story that we shared about your wife being suing the police department. Like obviously you're not for the corruption and the stuff that's going on. And so I kind of want to know, like, what's your steps? What are you going to do about it if you get in that seat? Number one, I mean, you're running for sheriff, so this is not much you can do in the police department, but just law enforcement in general. You're talking about your style. What are your actual steps? And then also, could you speak to that fentanyl thing? We've lost a couple friends here lately to the drug, and want to know what's going on in town about it.
Well, first I could talk a little bit about fentanyl if you want me to. And I worked undercover and I supervised a narcotics unit. So I spent about 8 years on a federal task force where we're fighting. For us it was really methamphetamine, and it's interesting because we have a lot of narcotics on the street and it's poison, right? It's killing our family members. It's killing a lot of people. And that's why I tell everybody, you really, that saying about, you really can't hate the player, but hate the game. We have a lot of family members that are getting poisoned by narcotics on the street. And so fentanyl overdoses in this city are arguably the highest they've ever been because of the strength of fentanyl. So what I've done is I've been the only candidate to really come out and say that when it comes to trafficking, and I'm talking human trafficking, drug trafficking, and firearms trafficking, I want to be on the front lines of that and really kind of beef up the deputy presence in that arena because, it is a big impact. And the deputy sheriffs have jurisdiction in the city. They can work on task forces, and they're excited to actually address violent crime as it relates to how it impacts our city. So fentanyl is at the top of my list. And as it relates to task forces, a lot of people don't really understand this, but I did our legislative work, and I've developed a relationship with state senators across the aisles. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, but Senator Chambers always used to punk out the colonel, the state patrol, and the chief of police and go, what are you guys doing about straw purchasing an illegal firearms deal in our community? Because kids are dying. Juvenile crime in this city is the highest it's been in about, I think, 8 or 10 years. There was an article on it. And that's perpetrators and victims of gun violence. So we need to do a better job of working on our youth for programming and addressing straw purchase. In other words, where are they coming from? And then actually starting to handle that violent crime as it relates to firearms. And fentanyl is just another piece of it. Now, we're always going to have narcotics, and we're the 40th largest city in the United States. But we need to do a better job of addressing. But if you're down police officers, this is what I tell everybody. You pay taxes for police officers, You pay taxes for deputies. So if you're down 80 police officers, like I think we are last time I heard, and you're down a handful or 9 deputies or 10 deputies, when you can start spreading out the wealth to address these, it has to come from the top, fellas. You have to really make a concerted effort. And, when's the last time a chief of police has been on this show? Has a sheriff ever been on this show? I mean, if you're not talking to the people in the community and addressing their issues, then you shouldn't be an elected official or at the top rung of that department. So I plan on working with the community. I'm from the community, and that I enjoy that and relish it because that's how we get work done. And nobody wants to live next to somebody that's committing violent crimes, right? I've never met anybody even in our neighborhoods, but we do want to help each other. And most of the help that's always needed is, and I hear it even now, is, hey, my nephew is addicted to narcotics, and how can I get him help because there's no help for him or her? And guess what's first to cut? Funding in this state, oftentimes by the Republican Party. So, I know firsthand, and I'll fight for the community and the things that you want.
Yeah, man.
We talk about like resource officers in the community and what we find to be community policing. And just I'm thinking about my experience going to school and seeing those resource officers and building that relationship. I definitely hope, if you do win your office to see you more and for us to build that relationship, because just that communication goes a long way. And you're right. We haven't had, many officers, high ranking officers on the show or, communicating with us.
Schmatter came on once, to his credit, a while back in minus old days. And, we've had a relationship with him that kind of fluctuated over the years. Sometimes we think he got a tough job. Sometimes we think he got a little underhanded thing going on. So I personally am a person that has a problem with law enforcement, period, because it always ends up being that our communities are being policed by people that aren't in our community. So that's why it stands out to me that you talk about community policing and what you plan on doing there. Tell me, well, before I do that, I'll jump into the chat because there's people. Wanda Lewis says, when you win the position, do you have a number 2 person in mind? Is that a choice that's open to you, first of all?
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussions on that because, as you all know, when I ran a tough primary, against assistant sheriff, and, both of us during the course of it had selected a number 2 because the goal is always to kind of keep somebody to stay internal, because my opponent won't tell anybody who his number 2 is. There's rumors it was going to be Tony Connor. There's rumors it's going to be, another guy, and they don't want to be Omaha police necessarily. No disrespect, but they kind of like the sheriff's office. Otherwise, they would go to be Omaha police officers.
Right.
So I committed to my number 2 would be who's an internal guy. And so did my opponent. He committed to an internal guy. And that was, that's how it was, because you want somebody and you want to be able to tell the taxpayers in the small towns that that business is going to be business as usual. And that's kind of, how you want it to be. They don't want to always see that. One, you're going to have a new sheriff. It's going to be a former Omaha police officer, right? So change is already coming, and some it makes people feel uncomfortable sometimes, but I believe, change stretches your mind. I think it's important that we have a new sheriff. He was there 27 years. But when I talk about going into a new department, I want fresh ideas. I want the best and the brightest. I've been involved in hiring 400 police officers, fellas, in my day as assistant chief. And I'm proud to say that we've had the most diverse police classes in the history of the Omaha Police Department. And they're on record, on paper. I've proven in that regard. And when we talk about police community relationships, we oftentimes have to go out and really recruit, whether it's the Latino police officers or the women's group or the Black police officers, because that trust is so important that we have people that look like us and speak the same languages that are policing the neighborhoods and that are working homicide. And if you want to solve crimes, when I was a homicide sergeant, my detectives had to look like the people they're serving, or we don't get tips and we can't get communication. And so that translates to your opinion on, do I have a trust in the community? Because there's so many great police officers out here in this community, that love policing for what it really should be, working hand in hand with the community and really running away from the small percentages of people that shouldn't be cops, like Chauvin, Minnesota, that should go to prison for the rest of his life.
Right.
But the majority of it is a lot of great inner city people, that men and women that love policing, because this is, at the end of the day, fellas, this is how it works. We can show up and make a bad day not so bad. And, bad people go to jail sometimes, but I'm by and large, a lot of people need a hand in how to troubleshoot a situation.
I hear you. Couple more questions here in the chat, and then I got 2 questions for you I want to ask before we get out of here. Josh Tank says, love what you and your family have done with PACE. Hope it continues to grow. My question is, what do you think should be done with the juvenile system? Does the sheriff have any say in that?
Well, the sheriff's going to be running the new juvenile justice system, which is why people have to get out and vote. Like, they have to get mad. Don't just get mad because it's a midterm, and normally voter. The folks that show up to vote in a midterm is not real high. It's not, it doesn't gravitate folks like it does in a presidential election. So I tell everybody this one's important because the sheriff controls, when you talk about funding, when you talk about mental health and fighting for mental health, on the horizon is what are we going to do long-term for our folks that are absorbing and experience mental illness, in our community. Currently, there are very few beds. There's no long-term facilities. That needs to be worked on, and I will, sheriff. The Juvenile Justice Center is going to be run by deputy sheriffs. And I'm excited because there's a lot of philanthropic support in this city that really want to help our youth. And one of the most contentious points right now with juveniles is, do we lock them up? Or do we work with our youth to find alternative forms of detention? And what do we need to do to keep them out? And I'm going to tell you a real quick story because I used to run the school resource officer program. When we trained police officers and brought in a psychiatrist and trained our school resource officers of why kids do what they do. And they might cuss you out doesn't mean they don't like cops. They could be malnourished. They could be not taking their meds. And we put all our arsenal police officers and we trained school officials on how the teen brain works. Our arrest rate went down 50% in Omaha public school system. But it's through education. So we can do the same things for our youth. We don't always have to revert to incarceration. And we talk about that in the penal system. We could talk all day about that because I've lived it too. You all have experienced family members that are in prison, or they're addicted to narcotics, and where it starts as a kid. What could we have done better if your cousin Johnny was 11 or 12? What could we have done better to keep them out of the system as they become an adult? And I'll be a trendsetter and a leader in that respect, because I think the sheriff needs to be on the front lines of those issues. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have disproportionate numbers, it's proven, in our juvenile system and the penal system. And so if we don't try to do something better, then we're going to have the same old results. And that's why I'm running for sheriff.
That's what's up, man. we're at 8:15 right now. That was the time that we allotted for you. But if you could stay another 5 minutes, we really appreciate it because I definitely.
Oh man, I got you.
Okay, I
appreciate you guys. Get out and vote. That's the main thing. Get out and vote.
Linda Chicago over on YouTube is saying, "Vote, vote, vote. We need large turnout to get a change for good for y'all, for all." Want to harken back to another candidate that we had on. We had another person that ran for sheriff that came onto the show a little earlier in the year, and he kind of set me off when he made his comments about the Rodney King situation and the cops there. And I want to ask you,
man, Paul was living
in California, bro. Don't be coming on top. So, but I don't want to influence your answer, but problems with what's been happening ever since Rodney King. I mean, Rodney King is kind of the first time that we ever saw it on camera, but police brutality and these types of things. What's your opinion on that? And as far as being able to solve that, change that, and how does you see the Rodney King situation?
Well, that was a landmark case, right? That really kind of changed the terrain of policing. It was a, multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And I think now today, when I talk about body cameras and having those neutral third parties, you all know what my wife experienced. And so I can speak to it probably better than anybody. And whether I'm a police officer or a civilian on the streets, I have no problem. And we've talked about it before, really exploring who polices the police, right? And so when it was uncovered, some things in the Internal Affairs Unit where documents were lost, sexual harassment cases were not investigated thoroughly, that's very concerning to me. It should be very concerning to you all as a public. So we cannot let our public officials walk away from transparency. And if you have nothing to hide, then what are you scared of? And I feel that's the same with policing. Like, we've done a really good job, I believe, at the police department taking some swift action against some folks. But the reality is, I think what people look for is like, who's going to police the police? Like, if I have a bad relationship with the high-ranking police officer, or if I have an issue with the chief of police, then who do I go to? I can't go to the mayor, because what's the mayor going to do? Who supports the chief? So I think there's a lot of things that we could talk about. The unicameral, of course, you have a lot of great centers that can work on those. And look, I'm really a believer, especially being from the inner city. And I told everybody this before, and that's a whole nother issue we could talk about. It becomes very territorial when you start to really encroach upon the four corners of policing. But I'm going to tell you, you have to hold your elected leaders accountable. You have to hold the chief accountable, and you have to ask questions. The Citizens Review Board, fellas, you remember there was an article in the paper like 2019. You remember when everybody talked about and the mayor was going to be this great thing, and the whole board quit. That's documented because they go, look, we're not getting any cases, and you're not giving a subpoena power. There's really no teeth in it. So why should we even be part of this, right? One of the members was from Northeast Omaha, and we had these conversations. So my point is, look, you could protect police officers as much as you can to protect the community. Look what happened to my wife, who's a high-ranking police officer, and I tell everybody. So when you talk about Rodney Kings, and there's stories that happen that have to be investigated. Okay, I had a friend of mine call me. This is a true story a few years ago, real quick. Hey, I think a police officer just forced my daughter in a sexual encounter.
Whoa.
But my daughter, he says, had some issues. And I just want to let you know the story actually seems real. But my daughter's a runaway. She's had problems in the past. She's addicted to narcotics. But look, I don't dismiss stuff like that. I followed up with our Internal Affairs Unit. It led to the termination of a deputy sheriff. My point is, look, we have people across the spectrum, whether police officers, that's one thing you can't quantify, you guys, when you hire police officers, is are you a racist, right? But what happens is I can't judge what's in your heart, but I can judge your actions. And that's what happened with Rodney King. We know they should have not have been police officers. They should have been arrested and prosecuted when you're beating people on the streets of any city, especially when 99% of the problems you can talk with your mouth. And that's why we need people that are good communicators, because that's really where it is, fellas. I'm going to tell you right now, if you got good communicators on the street and police officers, one, you got to hold police officers accountable. Okay. You have to hold the community accountable too, right? So they're not making frivolous complaints against the police, but that's what body cameras do. It's a neutral third party, right? It kind of protects everybody. And that's what we need to talk about more. And the police officers or deputies and law enforcement that we know that are making grave mistakes and they're using force that's inappropriate, they should be held accountable. That's what I'm saying.
Appreciate that answer, man. Most definitely. One more question from the chat. Marianne Williams is asking a question for Greg. What can the public do to support the good apples? From my perspective, it seems like whistleblowers are harassed and for some, it's proven downright dangerous. Change can't happen until good cops can be a tool to remove bad ones.
Yeah, as far as we have to support law enforcement, that's why I tell everybody we need police, right? We need to have folks that want to police the inner city and want to drive the neighborhoods and talk to people. So first and foremost, I would say always embrace law enforcement until proven otherwise. And it happens to all of us, right? It's going to happen in any arena because we're wearing a uniform. There's some people just don't like cops. Okay, so that means right there we need to do a better job of promoting the goodwill of police officers, right? Because if they know we have police officers on the street that care about you and care about the community and driving down crime, then the most people go, look, I can appreciate you, but you could take people to jail, fellas, this, with civility and professionalism, and it never be a problem. Okay. And that's why I'll speak on my record to Sheriff Dunning all day long. I'll challenge him. Show your internal affairs record and show the millions of dollars you cost the taxpayers in this county. And then that's real talk. But he won't, because he knows this guy has a proven documented record of lawsuits and almost been terminated as a police officer. So bring it on. And I love this kind of talk shows because that's the stuff that people have to ask people. And it's no different than policing. But if you guys, would you feel more comfortable if you had Sheriff Gonzalez in there or another sheriff that you can lean on and go, look, I want you to look into this. Right. I really feel like you have to look into this, Greg. Whether the person was right or wrong, you have to be approachable, I think, as a leader. And if people don't feel comfortable making a phone call and have an open door policy with the sheriff or the chief of police or the mayor, then get out of office.
Yeah. It says a lot when people can't trust the police to police themselves. If you can't hold yourself accountable, how can you really hold anyone else accountable?
It's scary, fellas. I'm gonna tell you right now. This is what I told my wife. I go, what we have experienced in the last 5 years. I love policing. I'm going to tell you that because what I know as policing is really, working with our community. But the things that happen to us and we're police officers, I can't even describe. So when you feel that level of mistrust and police officers feel level of mistrust, I can appreciate what the community feels.
That's rough.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Two more quick questions. First of all, Kimber Snipes in the chat says, I have taken a lot of slack, especially from my own community, about my support for Greg Gonzalez, but I stand on righteousness and he is the best candidate. So there's your endorsement for the day for sure. Two more quick questions for you. These are a little bit lighter than what we've been asking. First of all, I want to ask you your personal opinion about Biden's comment yesterday on the marijuana situation. What's going on there?
Yesterday was so busy, fellas. I didn't hear.
Man. Oh, really? Okay. So, being that you worked on task forces and you actually have done some work with fentanyl, I would definitely love to hear your response to this juxtaposed, because marijuana again is recognized as Schedule 1. Biden did announce that he would like to change that. He also pardoned those serving federal time for simple possession and use of marijuana. Would you support a change in how marijuana is prosecuted and looked at from law enforcement on the state level?
Well, and I think in California, my answer to your question is yes. I mean, I think the voters, and I did our legislative work, the voters in the state voted for medical marijuana.
Yep.
Right.
Unbelievable that was vetoed by the governor. Okay,
Right.
so when the people vote, and which is what people have died for. So we talk about patriotism and our men and women fighting in the military and what they fought for, and we have a democracy to vote, and then it's overturned by the governor. I have a problem with that, a fundamental problem. So I support what the voters support. They've already spoken in this state before on medical marijuana. And as it relates to recreational marijuana, even some of the most conservative states, okay, in the United States, Arizona, have recreational marijuana. So I think it's important to explore marijuana as it relates. Let me put it to lay person's terms on a felony arrest. California and a lot of states, and I think we visited here, less than a gram of let's say, crack cocaine. It takes police officers off the street for a half a shift to do all the paperwork, to put what we would consider somebody that needs assistance is a user. User amounts is what we're talking about. Okay. You put them behind bars, and oftentimes they may sit there for several months. Okay. And what they're doing is clogging up the penal system. So I think there needs to be a committee of law enforcement and attorneys and look at user amount quantities, whether it's marijuana, and they've done it in California and other states, user quantities of other controlled substances, because the whole goal is this, fellas, and I'm speaking from law enforcement. I'm trying to go after, and task force officers should, those folks that are bringing in large quantities of poison in our community. Are we really after the victims oftentimes, which are the users? So my philosophy, because I have extensive experience in it, is there has to be a shift, a paradigm shift in how we look at it. So, there was a time when I was a task force officer, you wouldn't get indicted federally unless it was over 500 pounds of marijuana. Now, I don't know what they're doing today on the federal side, but you're talking about, user amounts of an infraction in the state of marijuana. I think we do need to look at some common sense law, be pragmatic about it. I'm not familiar with all the statements yesterday by Biden, but I think the pragmatic people talk about real solutions in life. And there's a lot of users out there, and you guys know some, that have marijuana too because of pain in their life.
Yeah.
So, we have to look at those as no different than firearms laws. And, there's some disparity. It's not consistent. Firearms, you guys know the rules are different in this city than other counties in state of Nebraska. And I'm really about consistency. I'm about solutions. And I'm also about making sure that we don't continue to clog up the criminal justice system, with users. Because at the end of the day, does that make sense? And maybe that's kind of along the lines of what Biden said. But, I lived it for 9 years. And I could tell you that I've also put some heavy hitters that are bringing poison in this streets of this city where they probably should be. Because, look, if I have family members or you have family members that are being poisoned, and you get caught up, then it's on you. But the reality is most of those users that the president's talking about, it's a different story. And yeah, we need to start looking at that.
Appreciate your answers, man. Very much so. Definitely need to get that fentanyl off the street. I don't care nothing about the cannabis part. So thank you very much for being open and honest about that. We'd love to have you back and talk again sometime. And I don't know about you, buddy. Did you have anything that was lingering there that you wanted to?
No, actually, that was my question. Was his take on marijuana? I wanted to definitely juxtapose that to his answer about fentanyl, and you hit the nail on the head, man. It's a shame that people are getting charges rather than treatment, and you have victims being treated like kingpins. It's a problem.
My last question for you, my brother. I used to have this question for every new guest that came on. Where are the best wings at in Omaha? But I'm kind of off of wings right now, man. I'm back on my tacos, bro. And since you from South O, I need to know where are the best tacos in Omaha, bro.
You know, I'm an old school cat, man. You know, my mom's family's from, my dad's from South Texas, and my mom's family is originally from Jalisco, Mexico. And the best memories of my life, man, are going, you know, as we're kids, as we're going, whether it's to Texas or my mom or Mexico, was going to the corner where you're getting little taco from the vendor.
Ooh, the street
now,
taco.
I would tell you, I am a little biased here, but the best taco truck in South Omaha, in my opinion, no offense to anybody, any of the vendors out there, is Dos Oros. So it's DOS, second word OROS. Best tacos, go up there, usually lunchtime, full of people. That for me, the little carne asada tacos are the best you're gonna get.
Come on, bro.
But that's my opinion. I will say, just for every small business owner in Omaha, get tacos and enjoy everybody's, because everybody's
Hey, I wrote this down. Those
yes.
Where's the truck located at?
They got two on South 24th Street. Now they have one all the time at 60th and L.
Okay.
And they got about 4 or 5 of them. I don't know if they have any down on the north side. I haven't seen one down there, but if not, they need to. If you got a good location, I'll tell the owner where to go, because there'll be a line every time. They usually, gravitate to industrial, with maybe the packing houses where there's a lot of workers for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got a good spot, let me know, because so some of the best tacos around, brother.
I shouldn't have even asked, but now I know what I'm doing for lunch, bro. I gotta get
I gotta make it
asado, bro. My carne asada, I gotta have my radishes with it. I gotta have it like street taco style, right, man? I'm from California, bro, so I know what you mean.
Tell them Greg sent you.
Wanda Lewis is still wants to know, though, where's the best chicken wings?
Wanda already knows the answer to that.
Okay, where's this?
Wanda, you tell me who has the best chicken wings. So the last chicken wings I had was at a spot off of what was it? 108th and geez, I can't even remember that. Some of the best chicken wings I thought was off of where was it? Because I think there was 2 spots. I know that usually when I'm down on North Side, I'm going Time Out Chicken.
Of course.
But that's kind of my pastime in North Omaha. But I know I don't want to offend anybody on the chicken wing side of town. I'm gonna tell you on the south side, I'm gonna tell you where I go. So Wanda, I don't want to offend anybody on this station today. So I'm gonna leave that really neutral.
It's all love. Okay. It's all love. It's your opinion. We don't. Nobody gets offended. Nobody gets offended.
I sell Precious like the Oscars, huh?
Okay, that's what's up.
Okay. Yeah, I think Oscars has some pretty good wings, but honestly, I don't know. I usually eat a lot of B-dubs because the kids, it's quick and we're ordering out to go. But I think there's a lot of different wings. But wherever I go, I want some meat on them. The one thing I don't like about B-dubs is there's no meat on them. And I'm a drum guy. I'm a drum guy.
Yeah.
And the one thing I don't like about B-dubs a lot of times is they fight you to say, well, I want all drummies. And they'll fight me over and want to charge me more. So I do like Oscars too, but I'm equal opportunity.
Well, you got my vote just because you're a drum guy. So there you go. Right?
Yeah. We have a camera in the chat too. She's spilling the beans, talking about the family enchilada recipe too.
Yeah, my mom, actually, Kathy, my wife, knows my mom's recipe. So
wait. Did you just say your mom gave up her recipe to your wife?
Yeah, she had to, because mom's 86 now. So my mom and dad, they're getting up there a little bit. Yeah. So she had to kind of turn over the recipe to my wife. And
I mean, that's love, though. That's love.
Yeah. That's how it works, man. You got to share it. And anytime she makes it, she you all know she broke her ankle. She's been out of the fight for a little bit. But once we get back in the fight, I'll promise you, I will deliver you all some of her enchiladas.
I was gonna say, bro, don't make us. We'll walk up to your house and get them enchiladas.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and you can do that too. Whatever. I think, and you'll like them.
Carol Blood came on the show and said, we asked her what the best wings were no more. She said, my house. I was like, don't make us come over your house. Hey man, appreciate you coming on, bro. Very much so. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I really appreciate you running and the things you had to say today. We definitely like to have you back and talk some more, answer some more questions. We get closer to the election and all that good stuff too. So thank you very much for that, man. I really appreciate you, and we'll let you get on about your day, man.
No, I appreciate you guys anytime, man. Thank you.
Right on.
Peace.
All right.
There you go.
Those Oros. I'm getting my tacos today.
Tell them Greg sent you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we have been in conversation with Greg Gonzalez for Douglas County Sheriff.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. We'll go to take a quick break and decompress there for a little bit on that one.
Yeah, that was heavy.
We'll come back and talk a little bit more and jump into these stories. They've been in the news for sure. And we got to jump on this Biden thing that Pete Ricketts chimed up about. I know that you guys came on talking a little bit earlier about some of this stuff about Ben Sasse resigning, Pete Ricketts wanting to possibly trying to get into that seat and all those good things. So we got a lot more to talk about here, and we will jump into it. Stay tuned. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, and all of you, the chat chimers, really appreciate everybody who is jumping in there. And also Star Trek Rich in the Weberized crew. Just want to give them a shout out as well. Thank you very much for always having our back, sharing the show, all that good stuff. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't you touch nothing. Be right back, y'all. Welcome back. Listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Yeah, little Willy Wonka. That's right. A little imagination for your morning. Oh, Beth. Good morning to you, Beth Davis Wilson. Appreciate you. Josh Tate said, give me a job. That's what's up. Wanda Lewis said, Greg Gonzalez music. I don't know. I should have asked him what kind of stuff he listens to. We appreciate that. The Hood Table's in the house. Appreciate you as well joining in. Kimmer Snipe says, I got some Paul enchiladas. I mean, that's what's up. Don't make me come and raid your freezer on that. I got to see what the guy Gonzalez is talking about. That's real love for Mama Gonzalez to pass down the recipe to the wife. I mean, that tells you a lot about their relationship. They got a great relationship.
Yeah. I guess that keeps on giving.
There you go. Precious said that we got free tacos today at Elmwood Park. So I might have to go down there and see what's going on, man. Don't say free and tacos in the same sentence with me. It's going down.
5 p.m.
5 p.m. That's what's up. Mayor Sancho says Super Mercado on 36th and Q has the best fried chicken. You know, they got the deli over there. I might have to go check that out for sure. They might be getting down over there too in the real way. Appreciate the all that good stuff. Katie L in the house says morning. She says morning to Tanya, morning to you too. And like I said, man, Hood Tables, really appreciate the Hood Table coming in. Fellow podcasters, man, very entertaining show. Talk a lot about what's going on in North Omaha on a deep level. and fun level too, man. You know, you got to keep it fun sometimes too, and really, you know, just be present for what's going on in our neighborhoods, and I appreciate the Hood Table for doing that as well. Our fellow, what do you want to call us? Podcasters, I guess.
Yeah, casters, potters.
The Hood Table says we love us some Precious. I heard that, so do we.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So really appreciate everything, man, that you guys are adding to this conversation in a big way.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff going on in the chat. Definitely go back and check out the chat and you know, continue the discussion there. When we're not on air, we have these discussions over at Friends of First Sky Omaha. So if you're not a member of Friends of First Sky Omaha, please go there. It's a group on Facebook, and we can talk more and drop some news in there and some headlines and some haps and all that good stuff. We will be having some haps coming up here shortly, so get your haps ready and together. In the meantime, let's go ahead and jump back into a couple things that you guys wanted to talk about. Buddy, what's on next on the agenda?
Yeah. I wanted to dive back into this Biden conversation and then possibly get into a lightning round before our haps. But definitely had to dive and look at Governor Ricketts' response to Biden's call to action. Again, Biden just yesterday announcing that he will pardon thousands who are serving time and have served time on simple possession and use of marijuana, and at the same time called governors across the country to do the same. And to no surprise, Ricketts wasted no time in criticizing that move. Alongside Nebraska Attorney General Doug Peterson, Ricketts lambasted Biden's decision to pardon Americans convicted of simple possession. Biden said the move reflects his position that no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. He also called on governors to issue a similar pardon. However, Ricketts and Peterson, in a statement, said the president's decision shows that he is misinformed and ill-advised regarding the issues surrounding marijuana. This coming from a guy who said marijuana will kill your kids. They said no one is incarcerated in Nebraska state correctional system because of marijuana possession. I find that hard to believe. I find that very, very hard to believe. Regarding the federal pardon, the White House said that no one is currently in federal prison solely for simple possession, but that the pardon could help thousands overcome obstacles to renting a home or finding a job. Ricketts and Peterson have been outspoken opponents of marijuana and legalization, as our guest Greg Gonzalez, brother Greg Gonzalez, put some respect on his name, just mentioned. Ricketts was a part of the veto that again stopped the state from legalizing marijuana, even after thousands and thousands of voters voted for it. After it received the petition signatures that it needed, it was still blocked again by Ricketts. So again, no surprise, him doubling down on his stance, just another reason that we need new blood.
Another reason we need new blood for sure. Josh Tague, Party Pooper Pete. Josh Tague wins the award for the most nicknames for Pete Ricketts. Appreciate.
He has to have a book. He's got like a little book. So
you gotta have one. Party Pooper Pete. We always pay attention to what he chimes up about and how quickly he chimes up. And yeah, that thing went out yesterday, and we knew that. And when I saw it, when I saw what happened, when I saw Biden do that, and I thought about how many black and brown men are going to be let loose from jail all around the country, I thought there's going to be some serious backlash here. There's going to be some serious backlash. And then the very next thing is that I looked at the paper today. There wasn't the announcement in Omaha World Herald, but there surely was an article about Pete Ricketts chiming up about what he just said about it. So that tells me all I need to know about how important this announcement is to Omaha, to Nebraska, to as far as what mainstream media thinks is important. This national story, this historic, huge deal that just happened with President Biden is not really getting a whole lot of press here in Nebraska, except for what our governor has to say against it, which is something else. So I just find it all interesting, but wanted to really hear what you guys had to say about it. Like I said, Precious came on and did a live yesterday, heard what she had to say, and she always does the most incredible lives on Facebook. So if you're not a friend of hers, become one so you can be privy to that. But she came on and she's like, "Look, I mean, how much of a win is that for restorative justice, just in general?"
Man,
You're sitting there in jail. Think about this: you had a little joint on you or something like that. You got arrested. You're sitting in jail, and then your state legalizes recreational marijuana, and you're still sitting in jail. How ridiculous!
man,
They've changed the law, bro. It doesn't qualify. You don't. So if they're keeping you in jail now, they're keeping you in jail on purpose, and we all know how hard it is. We talk about Brother Ernest Jackson, put some respect on his name, and how hard it is to get even another court date with evidence that comes in for a person. They don't want to let you out of jail. They make it hard to turn around these kinds of things. So what Biden just did was huge in a way where a lot of black and brown men are going to be let out of jail. Does that sound like
man.
something Ricketts wants, or any or anybody in the Republican Party that they're absolutely not feeling like? I mean, look at what Ricketts just said. Like, obviously they think, Biden just wants to let all criminals out of jail. They still think about it as criminal, first of all, even though it's just it's a hot mess. So I'm kind of brother Guillermo Enrique Pina Valadares came in. Good morning. He says big win.
Indeed,
Definitely a big win.
And it's I think your initial reaction to it yesterday, it was quite interesting. Beyond just what Ricketts and Republicans and conservatives were saying, you had some concern about what they might do, saying that this could lead to a civil war. And I'm like, man, I could definitely see. I mean, I always think back to the attacks on some of the Democratic governors. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of what was it, Michigan, was almost kidnapped. Like, they had a whole plot at her vacation home for her being kidnapped for some of the policy that she was pushing. So I could definitely see if Democratic governors answer this call, which I'm expecting many will, that haven't already. This could lead to more tension and more separation and division within the country, man. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on how this plays out. And in the words of Ricketts, this leads to more drug cartel activity, which is one of the biggest, concerns and fears of these conservatives and political or patriotic groups. So, yeah.
It's I can hear Trump, telling Proud Boys and people like that, stand by. Whole lot of black and brown people about to be released from jail. Stand up, stand by, and all that kind of mess.
Man.
So
go ahead.
I was just saying that, so I can't put it past that there's going to be some serious retaliation going on some of this if it plays out the way that Biden is saying it'll play out.
Man, we'll definitely keep our eyes on that situation, but regardless, there's going to be pushback. I mean, we've already seen that situation with, like you mentioned, if they're going to push back on student loan forgiveness, they're definitely going to push back on marijuana legalization, and
not to mention the business aspect of this as well. Marianne Williams in the chat saying current marijuana laws keep prisons in business. Follow the money.
Follow the money, indeed. But just about 12 minutes, so I didn't want to squeeze these other articles in a quick lightning round before we can get to these haps. But just continuing with the conversation again. As I mentioned, they are pushing back on student loan forgiveness too, man. Nebraska, again, Governor Ricketts in Nebraska pushing back on Biden on that situation, being one of 6 states putting out a lawsuit. But now the Biden administration has been hit with yet another lawsuit from a conservative group that's claiming to represent taxpayers from Wisconsin, called the Brown County Taxpayers Association. They recently filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Wisconsin, arguing the debt forgiveness violates the U.S. Constitution, saying that President Biden is overreaching his powers by eradicating debt, a power that is supposed to be set for congressional approval. So, again, that's yet another lawsuit on top of the 6 states that are suing the Biden administration, and also another lawsuit that's coming from Arizona's attorney general. So, again, if we're seeing this type of pushback from student loan forgiveness, we should definitely expect more pushback and more tension in the wake of this marijuana announcement.
Very true. Rough.
Yeah.
Anxious to see what's going to happen there. I'm just interested in how blatant it is that they're just these lawsuits and the stuff that they're trying to say the reasons why this shouldn't happen is just incredible to me. It's just straight racist
and just nonsensical. Like this is a hypocrisy for Ricketts to on one hand say marijuana is going to kill the kids, and then on the other hand to say Biden is misinformed. Like really, that's what we're going with. But it is what it is, man. But also, before we get out of here, just about 10 minutes left in the show. In other news, similar, sticking with Ricketts, it is being speculated that Ricketts could possibly go to replace Sasse. Again, Ricketts will be term limited in February, I believe, of next year. But there is a possibility that State Senator Ben Sasse could be moving on to Florida to lead the University of Florida. He is one of the finalists for the position as president of the university. However, not however, but that as a result will leave a vacancy in the state Senate. And there's some speculation that Ricketts could possibly be eyeing that seat. So
we haven't been speculating that he's going to run for president. And then when this came up, I was like, this is more likely what he's probably going to be trying to appoint himself to this to a Senate seat.
Possibly. I mean, I could see him, going for a Senate seat and then setting the stage for a presidency. We'll see. But I would definitely love to politic with P on that one. So we can put a pin on that for later, maybe next week. But just about 10 minutes left in the show. That does it for today's articles. You want to jump into some haps?
Man.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
That's right, y'all. It's time for the haps. What's going down? It was time for us to talk a little bit about what's going on this coming up weekend, and time for you to dig deep and let us know what we need to be checking out in this weekend as well in the upcoming week. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for getting your haps ready for us. Let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, I want to jump into the chat real quick because the Hood Table is bringing something to our attention. Did you guys hear that today there will be a historical marker ceremony unveiling today at 11:30 at 17th and Farnham for George Smith? Yeah, we did talk about this in previous episodes. George Smith, who was lynched over 100 years ago by the courthouse. So another unveiling of a historical marker at the courthouse. Whole lot of lynchings going on at the courthouse.
Man,
sounded like to me back in the day. So I'm glad it's being looked upon again, so we can remember. You should always remember about stuff that's happened there. So appreciate you letting us know about that, Hood Table. Also appreciate you letting our YouTube chat chimers know how to spread the show, how to share the show on YouTube. You hit me to some information on that, so appreciate it very much. Also, I would say go back and look at Rome's reviews comments from YouTube. He has a lot of good comments about cannabis and what it is and how it's not really a drug because it has some certain definitions and so on. And he definitely would like to check it out. Also, Brother Valadetta says they're still living with the drug wars with Reagan and reefer madness from the 1920s. Yeah, Ricketts, man. I don't know. In the meantime, between time, also I want to talk about a show that's going on tonight in Benson. This is tonight at 6 o'clock. Actually, the doors open at 6 for this red carpet premiere of the film Micro. It is a local film event, and there's a lot of folks that we know in the community that are in this film, and it's about microaggressions. So, very interesting thing to see. Would love for everybody to make it tonight and check it out. Definitely go see it. Doors open at 6 o'clock at the Benson Theater. Check out the film Micro, the red carpet premiere. They're also having a rap party tonight afterwards as well. So after the film gets shown and introduced, then they're going to hang out at the Benson Theater and have some drinks and hang out in the lobby there until a little bit later on tonight. So definitely go enjoy that. And yeah, really appreciate everybody doing that. Speaking of microaggressions, we did hear that our ladies from our favorite people here, Amber and Lacey Ruffin, authors of the book You'll Never Believe What Happened to Lacey, Crazy Stories About Racism, that's chock full of microaggressions in the workplace.
Yep.
They're going to be at the Africon this weekend. So Africon is happening October 8th, 2022, Saturday. I'm definitely going to be down there this Saturday afternoon myself to check out what's going on. If you got your costumes ready, cool. If you don't, it's all good. We can still gather in the multiverse of blackness that's going to be happening in AfroCon Omaha this October 8th, talking about tomorrow, man, Saturday. So definitely check that out, and we'll see you down there. It's at Metropolitan Community College. You can get tickets at afroconomaha.com. Come down and check it out, man. There's going to be so many vendors down there as well. So many good things to do. Do a little shopping, a little hanging out, check out the costumes, and just engage in the multiverse of blackness. It'll be a beautiful thing. And of course, like we said, Amber Ruffin and Lacey will also be down there hanging out as well. So, and you can go talk to them and get your book signed if you have one and all that good stuff. So definitely check that out. But you got some hats for the peoples?
Yeah. Actually speaking, well, one, I want to go back to the chat. Shout out to Precious for reminding us the Douglas Democratic Party will have free tacos tonight at Elmwood Park starting at 5 p.m. So definitely check that out. She says we will be occupying Dodge Street from 3:30 to 5 and 50th and Dodge 72nd. So looks like there's going to be, occupation, little maybe a protest or demonstration, if you will, followed by some free tacos. So if you want to support Democratic candidates, go check that out.
So free tacos on Freedom Corner, huh?
Yeah, that sounds like a good time to me. Sounds like a good time. Again, free tacos on Freedom Corner. Yes. Also, and remind, shout out to the Opera Omaha. They're having the history and context of Malcolm X, setting up for this Malcolm X opera, talking about the history, the life and legacy of Malcolm X in Omaha, which is definitely a conversation I'm looking forward to. That's October 25th. So definitely put that on your schedules. Again, that's October 25th. So definitely look out for that. Other than that, I'm not really seeing too many haps on my radar.
A couple more things here. October 8th, 1 to 4, Confessions of a Murphy's Law Child, a book signing event with Dr. Franklin Titus Thompson, friend of the show. And he's been working for the community for a long time. And people don't really know it, but he was kind of a hit song maker in the 80s too, man. Big time. So Franklin Thompson wrote a book, and he's going to have a book signing that's happening at the Great Plains Black History Museum right there, 2221 North 24th Street, right there on the Deuce. And he's going to have a book signing event there, Confessions of Murphy's Law Child by Franklin Thompson, tomorrow from 1 to 4. So definitely check that out in the afternoon if you can. Pick up his book. I'm sure it's going to be really interesting and very much a memoir of his time spending time in Omaha, big time. So definitely check that out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just remember something. This is not quite a hap, but this is something I want to put in people's ears and a conversation that we will be having when we get this guest on. But a friend of a close family member of mine, my wife's, they are just found out that they have the contract for the South Omaha projects and the Spencer projects. There is a Black-owned development company that has those contracts. Just recently received a contract from the city, and they are looking to hire black like people from the community for those contracts. And that's it was news to me, and I'm pretty sure the chat chimers, y'all be interested in finding that out as well. Again, we've been talking about Atlanta, the impact that Mayor Maynard Jackson had on making sure minority contractors get a piece of city and government contracts for the development, and this is one of them. So again, we're definitely going to work on getting them on to talk to them, but there are jobs available out there. So I just wanted to put that bug in people's ears. If you have any young men or women who are looking to get into construction, this opportunity.
Appreciate that. Let's definitely talk about that again. Also, Wanda Lewis is reminding us multi vendors at the Bryant Center this Sunday for their last day of the season. So all that activity is going on at the Bryant Center. We really appreciate them. It came to our attention this whole summer. That's what's up. And I really appreciate them being out there. So if we can support this Sunday, go check them out for the last day of the season. Buy a few things from the vendors. Josh Tegg is talking about Franklin Thompson's book. He said this book is hilarious and sad at the same time. Everyone should read it. That's what's up. Thanks, Hood Table, for sharing our YouTube video on your channel as well. And we'll definitely do the same once we figure out how to do that. And I appreciate the instructions on how to do that for sure. I also just want to jump into one more thing that's going on here. Brother Terrell McKinney is saying save the date for October 20th. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Brother Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name.
There you go.
He's having a town hall meeting October 20th at 6:00. Location to be announced. So stay tuned with us and stay tuned with him on where that's going to be at. But this is focused racism and disproportionality in the child welfare system. Parents, families, youth, community members, and partners are invited. You already know this brother's putting something together. It's important, and we definitely want to support it and check it out. So definitely shout out to him. Save the date October 20th for Brother Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name. His town hall meeting is going down. So appreciate that very, very much. And let's see. Here's that Malcolm X thing you were talking about with Life and Times of Malcolm X. Definitely check out what Opera Omaha is doing. It's not just this they're doing. They're doing a lot. Actually, I put it in Friends of First Sky Omaha. It's pretty interesting what they're doing. Also want to give a quick shout out to Carol Blood, who is highlighting a black business, Okra African Grill. She said they do a fall foodies tour. She does a foodies tour. She's been to Okra checking it out. She said featuring Okra African Grill in Omaha. Owner Nina Soji immigrated from Togo and has introduced her nation's cuisine to Nebraskans. If you haven't had okra, punch yourself.
Man, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? I don't understand it. She says it's eclectic dishes reflect Togo's complex colonial past that fuse French, Spanish, and neighboring African nations flavors with their own spin. Nina's dishes are symbolic of Togo's history and culture that Nebraskans can experience in their own backyard. Side note to her too, she is a graduate of the Nina is a graduate of the Metropolitan Community College culinary program and has a successful business now behind that. So shout out to Carol Blood for highlighting a black business. We appreciate that very much. So let me see if I got a good thing going on. Yeah, October 11th also is coming up. Town hall meeting with Tony Vargas, brother Tony Vargas. Put some respect on his name. Topics of discussion LB 1024. Still talking about that. So man, that's with us too. We still are trying to discuss all those things. And then last but not least, gotta put up the key dates for election. It's really, really going down. Early in-person voting and county election at the county election offices can start October 11th through Monday, November 7th. So October 11th is coming up next week. That means you can go in and vote early at the election offices. Definitely check that out. And then I think they said that the ballots are coming in the mail, right?
Yeah. They should be coming out very soon if they haven't already. Actually, so yeah, definitely look out for that. And also a reminder: we have 2 days to submit your proposal for the Economic Recovery Act. Again, LB 1024. That Senator Tony Vargas puts some respect on his name. We'll be having that town hall meeting on. Again, there are certain criteria that they're looking for. If you fit that criteria, or if you have some ideas that can assist the community, definitely for the long run, check it out. Again, you have it October 9th at 11:59, not even 12, 11:59 to fill out the application. There is a link and a form for you to fill out. So yeah, if you have an idea, 2 days.
Man, cutting it close, cutting it real close.
Yeah, man.
Right on. Appreciate everybody that has jumped in. Also, there's a job fair that's happening also tomorrow, 11 to 3, 2514 North 24th Street at the Fabric Lab. So definitely check that out. This is hosted by North Omaha Legacy Tours. We all know that's the brother Elder Preston Love Jr. Put some respect on his name, and he's going to be hosting that over there at Manny About Town spot as well. So that's what's up with what's going on at the Fabric Lab. Definitely check that out because it's very important to support the brothers over there doing job fairs and things like that for sure. What did we just put in the chat, buddy?
This is the website we just showed, the Omaha Economic Recovery website.
Right.
So again, if you would like to fill out that proposal, you can go to that website to get your information, or if you have any questions, you can go there as well.
Right on, man. Mama God says my family love that spot right near NFM. You talking about Okra?
Yep, right by Nebraska Furniture Mart. Right
Hood Table says I love okra, but only if it's fried okra.
You gotta check them out. If you haven't been to Okra, definitely check them out. Man, got the plantain on deck, man. Got the the beignets. Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Check them out.
Right on. Josh Tate was talking about Amber and Lacey's book, not Franklin Thompson's book. Yeah, hilarious and sad. Definitely. Okay. I'm glad you read that, man. It's a very important book for Omaha for sure. Also, Mama God says, remind folks to support elderly, etc. through CHI system blackout. There is a blackout going on with the systems over at CHI, so check on your loved ones and all that good stuff.
Oh, yes. Yes, she did mention us. Thanks for reminding us. The blackout, it was a result of a hack. Mama God says, sidebar, CHI is working through a hack attempt. No access to computer system. I had challenges with critical med refills, and it took a lot of time to days to. Oh, so that's what that was. Wow. So just a quick. I know we're a little over time, but this is important information. Definitely look out for that information. Mom's called me a couple days ago, said that she was struggling. She's a diabetic, and said that she was struggling with getting insulin. She said she was down like to last couple of days of insulin, and I guess now the result or the reason is there was a hack. So again, that's I was worried, and I did not know that was the result, or that's what that was about. Real life situation, real life implications. People could die and really get in real trouble from that, man. So yeah, check on your loved ones. Hopefully they get that handled very soon.
And for you hackers that listen to us, quit messing with the hospitals, man. Mess with something,
man.
Mess with something else,
man. Go holler at Ricketts.
You know what I'm saying? Do something else. Brother Valentine says, hope the construction company incorporates the North Omaha Economic and Workforce Development Programs to use it as a test run for future ARPA-based projects. Putting that out there in the universe, because I hope that works out as well too. Once we start talking about some of these the construction companies that are going to be part of doing some of this development. So lots more to talk about. We will definitely get back on this Monday. We're sorry that we're running late. Not too sorry about it though, to be real honest with you. We're just going to roll until, this is necessary information. And if you're still here hanging with us, we appreciate you. So
yeah.
We used to have a limit on time back when we were on the radio, because you had to go by down to the minute on the radio scene, but this is a little different. So that's why we have been playing a little fast and loose with the time frames. But if you here for it, we're here for it. So we appreciate you. Not Ricketts. Ricketts probably ain't even got no. He probably don't even use the computer. I don't know what he's doing.
Man, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously not. If you think marijuana is gonna kill the kids, can't be doing too much Googling.
For those of you that haven't heard it, this man got on national TV and said, if you buy marijuana, you'll be killing your kids. I guess you don't want to have nobody out of jail for minor possession.
You think?
Pop says, fantastic show and awesome guests. Have a great weekend. As always, thank you. Appreciate you, Pops. Mama God said, I love you, men. My dudes, forever. Have a great weekend, First Sky fam. Appreciate you as well.
Thanks.
Let's not forget that Miss Erica Felt still needs some assistance. So let's definitely help her out. She's a friend of First Sky Omaha that's going through some things with her finances, and this is due to a result of a major operation that she had to have. She's struggling and surviving and going through it and doing it with help, but with also you can use more. This is the time for like the whole the community to kind of get together and really help out. So she's a friend of First Sky Omaha in the chat chimer. Wanda Lewis puts her cash app in the chat right there, Miss Erica's. So most definitely help her out. And also Meal Train is another program that you can go through as well. This allows you to put your name on a schedule so that you can deliver her food or get food delivered to her. It's just her and her son, and if she's laying up trying to recover from an operation, she can't cook and stuff like that. So help her out with the Meal Train, and also she owns a business taking care of the babies, man. So we want to help her keep her business afloat while she recovers and can get back to it when she gets better. And she's going to need some help, some assistance to do that. So I'm encouraging everybody, all the chat chimers, to donate to the cause here and help Miss Erica out. Again, Wanda Lewis put $ MS Erica's ERIKAS in the chat. That's her personal cash app. You can hook her up there. Also, I put the Meal Train link in the chat as well, and you can do that. Go through there and do that. So thank you very much. Marianne Williams says have a fabulous weekend. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of you guys that have joined into the chat today, and all the people who are also reoccurring members of our channel. Allow us to keep this going as well. Shout out to Brother Greg Gonzalez. Put some respect on his name for coming on in and letting us know what's going on. Kimmer, you was right. That's the dude. That's the dude for the job.
Man.
So appreciate all of you. Buddy, you got some words for the people?
Yeah. Again, big shout out to Greg Gonzalez. Put some respect on his name. Please make sure we do our part. Go out and vote. Have our voices heard. And do our due diligence, man. Control what you can control, and that's one of the few things that we can control, man. So again, we appreciate y'all.
Yep.
As always, first time listeners, last time listeners, ghost listeners, chat chimers, everybody. Thank you for partaking in this experience with us, because that's exactly what it is. It is an experience, an ongoing conversation with the community. So continue to let your minds be free and let your voices be heard, because people are listening. So again, speak up. And then also, again, make sure you're checking your titties, checking on your loved ones. Stay vigilant, staying safe this weekend. But until next time, tell a friend to tell a friend. Check us out, same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha. With that, Paul B, take it away.
Man, I want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, all the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners that make this show possible, this conversation, this round table that we have 3 times a week. Really appreciate y'all. Shout out to the Hood Table for doing the work as well. Marianne Williams says, have a fabulous weekend, all. Also, Linda in Chicago says, happy Friday, all. Yes, you guys take care of yourselves this weekend and enjoy some of these things going on. I want to see you down there at AfroCon for sure on Saturday.
Man, show up.
Please show up. House of Afro Capes and Curls is a good partner of ours that's doing some good work for the Black community. So please show up to AfroCon this weekend and engage and see what's going on. And we'll talk about it Monday. Mm-hmm.
Is this their first one back since the pandemic? Like back
first
in person?
One back in person since the pandemic.
Oh yeah. Let's show up, man. Let's show up and support. Check it out. Fort Campus, Metro Omaha this weekend. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself.
With that, we're going to get out of here. You guys have a good one. See you Monday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the Red